in the middle of the Atlantic. 9 islands rise from a volcanic mountain range hidden beneath the sea. A remote part of Portugal, almost 900 miles from the mainland. Here, the ocean controls distance. Weather changes in minutes. Villages cling to narrow ground. Roads bend around old craters. And beneath the green surface, the islands still carry the heat that made them. This is the Azores. The Azores sit 900 miles west of Portugal. 9 volcanic islands stretch across 300 miles of open ocean. The ocean around them runs over 10,000 feet deep. The islands sit alone above a submerged mountain range. The volcanoes are still active. The Atlantic is powerful. São Miguel marks the eastern edge of this chain. The route moves from east to west, from the oldest settlement to the newest land, 900 miles of volcanic chain. At Ponta do Central, a road runs toward open water. Green fields stop at a cliff-cut cape. The island ends at the cliff edge. Exposed headland, volcanic drop, pasture and sea packed into one coastline. São Miguel starts inland. Volcanic soil and humid air turn old violence into green ground. Near Vila Franca do Campo, the south coast remembers, a rebuilt settlement sits beside cliffs. Ash and landslide shaped this ground. At Sete Cidades, a dirt road follows the caldera crest. Access is a line drawn across volcanic height. Santa Iria shows bocage fields and windbreaks, dark soil, ocean exposure. One northern view holds all of it. Buildings give scale to São Miguel. People cluster where the island allows a safer hold. At Furnas, boiling water breaks through the surface. Steam rises from wet earth. Around Furnas, the road enters a living volcanic system. Steam vents and hot springs share the crater floor with traffic. The village below the caldera sits inside a volcanic room. Shelter exists here, but it is never far from heat. End quote. Steam rises through boardwalks. Even a path must respect the heat below. At Santa Iria, humid northern hills point toward tea country. Tea rows bring order to São Miguel's wet green slopes. The fields are measured and kept. At Goriana, terraced tea plants run toward the sea. Climate and careful contouring make this Atlantic plantation possible. Mosteiros returns to dark rock and offshore forms, black volcanic stone visible at the surface. The village sits between Greenland behind and Atlantic in front, houses pressed to the shoreline. Roofs and roads sit close to the water. The island offers only certain places where daily life can gather. Furnas returns the hidden layer. Steam rises from the earth. Geology becomes active here. Mosteiros is a white coastal parish on a peninsula. Offshore islets tighten the frame. The village holds between land, road, and Atlantic. A tractor moves through the fields. This is dairy and cropland, maintained against hills, cloud, and distance. Vila Franca do Campo shifts the view offshore. Calm water still depends on a volcanic coastline. Coastal farmland sits between volcanic cliffs and village roofs. Every usable shelf is claimed here. Mosteiros brings the ocean back as geology. Eroded volcanic islets offshore, a village on a narrow lava plain. At Praia dos Mosteiros, surf and black rock mark the island's outer limit. The Atlantic sets the edge. The islets offshore make the coast feel broken, as if the island still shows how it was made. At Santo Antonio, natural pools show how people use the coast. They do not pretend it is tame. Maya shows the north coast in village form, white buildings, dark basalt edges in agricultural land behind. 1. At Poca dos Frades, dark rock forms a natural pool. The Atlantic breaks against stone just beyond it. Back at Furnas, smoke rises from hot springs. The interior feels less settled than its green surface suggests. A steaming pool turns the ground into evidence. This island is not ancient quiet. Heat sits below the vegetation. The tea plantation road shows work and access. They share one narrow route through cultivated slopes. Guariana's terraces make labor visible. Rows follow the hill because the hill sets the rules. Tea fields with ocean views show two sides: productive interior, exposed Atlantic edge. The churning thermal pool closes this chapter, the island's secret still visible at the surface. At Guariana, tea rows make volcanic agriculture explicit. The slopes are farmed with care. Sete Cidades opens with Monte Palace. A luxury hotel once stood here. Now it is ruined on the rim. What happened here? Twin lakes fill the crater, blue and green, contrast and division in one basin. The abandoned hotel is a warning. Even a famous view can become difficult ground when weather outlasts tourism. The blue and green lakes are connected. They share one volcanic basin. Light, depth, and algae create the colors. Monte Palace makes the rim feel fragile. Concrete rooms look down into a landscape built by collapse. The church and houses make the crater human-sized for a moment. Then the walls rise behind them again. A bridge links water inside a divided crater. The colors are not tricks. Depth, algae, and sunlight split one body of water into two. Pasture on the caldera floor shows adaptation. Animals and fences occupy the few gentle surfaces. The rim road follows the crater edge. It links viewpoints and farms along the volcano's curve. The bridge crossing is a human line between basins, movement forced through a narrow neck of land. Houses cluster where the basin gives them room. Lake, road, and crater wall decide the village pattern. Lagoa Azul and Lagoa Verde are joined. Depth, reflection, and vegetation change how each reads. From the rim, the village is measured by roof count. Settlement does not spread here. It concentrates where the floor is level. Sete Cidades is beautiful because it is constrained. Roads, roofs, fields, and lake edges share the same crater floor. A narrow asphalt ribbon traces the crater wall. Each curve shows a different compromise between view and slope. A narrow crossing makes the lakes feel close. The crater walls make the outside world feel far away. cloud shadow moves over the basin. A postcard view becomes a working forecast. The settlement lives with the crater, not outside it. Safety means accepting the shape of the land. Each house sits where road and gentle grade meet. The rest stays pasture because the ground decides. A crossing links water inside the divided crater. Movement must thread between steep walls and narrow land. On the rim, weather changes the view in minutes. The landscape feels temporary. Weather moves across the basin. The same view shifts from postcard to something the wind is still arranging. The road begins to climb. The enclosed lake world starts to recede. Sete Cidades becomes geography, understood through departure. Small roofs near broad water show the scale. The village is intimate because the crater is enormous. Animals graze on the caldera floor. The basin shelters life, but it concentrates it. The lake edge becomes a shoreline inside the island, a second coast held within volcanic walls. Cloud settles differently inside the crater. The basin has its own climate. The road must climb out of this bowl before the island can change chapters. Sete Cidades leaves a practical rule. Lake, road, village, and field are arranged by the crater. What matters is how little workable ground the basin gives back. The last look across the lakes is a breath. Water, village, rim, and cloud held together before the story climbs toward Lagoa do Fogo. Roads on the crater floor form a practical grid. Each turn is dictated by where the volcano stopped collapsing. The road climbs toward rougher ground. The route becomes a test of access between lakes, ridges, and Atlantic weather. Water, volcanic walls, and human paths share one collapsed basin. The walls are steep. The making is volcanic. The road out of Sete Cidades carries the view from enclosed water toward higher ground. What remains is a working diagram. It shows how people inhabit a volcano. The chapter closes with water below and weather above, the two forces that keep shaping the route. Sete Cidades leaves village, roads, and pasture inside an old eruption. Lagoa do Fogo strips the story down. Fewer buildings, more water, more cloud, a crater withheld from settlement. But what waits inside the fire lake? Water gathers inside the volcanic shape. Rim, cloud, and depth control the view. Dense vegetation covers the interior slopes. The trail and lake show access narrowing, volcanic slopes close around the basin. Ocean-washed green terrain keeps the basin tied to exposure. Weather and steep margins define the view. The water view pauses before Pico, lake and slope held in suspension. Water pools inside the volcanic bowl. Rim, lake, and sky hold the pause before Pico. Pico changes the route. Mount Pico is Portugal's highest point at over 7,000 feet. Roads, vineyards, and harbors organize around one peak. At Criação Velha, basalt walls turn lava into support, stone fitted by hand. Vines hold against wind and steep slope. The black-walled vineyard grid shows labor stretched over time. Plot by plot, exposure is made workable. Grazing cattle on Pico means working slopes too rough for vines. Pasture fills the margins. Vineyards cannot reach. Fields beside the Black Coast turn exposure into livelihood. Dairy and grazing follow the seasons of grass and cloud. Stone walls turn rough lava into workable rows. The labor is visible before the crop is named. Black stone gives Pico a rougher surface than São Miguel. Walls and plots red as a human grid laid over volcanic material. Summit access opens and closes with weather. A clear morning can become impassable by noon. A village near the shore sits between steep land and open water, close to the coast for access. Tight, because flat space is limited. Approaching by boat shifts Pico from peak to harbor problem. The island appears as a coast that must be reached from sea level. From the harbor, the mountain is a navigational reference. Every boat and building sits in relation to that volcanic line. Settlement chooses low ground by necessity. The volcanic cone pushes gardens and homes toward the only flat edges. Green against black marks where soil was brought and defended from wind and salt. A rural pasture widens the route. Cattle and grass show the softer layer beside Pico's coastal stone. Livelihood needs these gentler pockets. A Corvo-labeled pasture previews western scale. Cattle and stone walls in a green basin. Grazing cattle on the mountain's lower slopes. Green pasture under Pico's volcanic silhouette. Near São Roque do Pico, the island shifts jobs. Slope becomes pasture. Exposure becomes part of the grazing economy. Houses and roads take lower openings. The volcanic interior keeps the rest difficult. Weather is not background here. Cloud, wind, and wet slopes decide the day's planting and access. The summit rises above the vineyards. Above the stone walls, the mountain reverts to bare rock and cloud. Lagoa do Capitão changes the function. Water, pasture, and the mountain share one frame. Height feeds the island below. Juniper, lake, and summit pull Pico into upland weather. The island feels less settled here. Altitude governs more. Cloud and height give Pico a dramatic silhouette. Daily life happens in the margins below. Black basalt, green pasture, white houses, and cloud around the peak. Use the margins, respect the mountain. On Pico, weather reveals and conceals the summit. The peak never looks the same twice. The coast offers access but marks the limit. Beyond the village, there is only ocean and the next crossing. Labor appears in repaired walls and divided plots, protected vines, and threaded roads. Pico closes on a vertical note. The peak pulls the eye upward, then the route descends toward Fayal. A single house below the summit shows the scale. The mountain fills the frame. Daily life occupies only the bottom edge. The route follows Pico's edge. The interior belongs to the volcano. Along the coast, roads cling to where access remains possible. Rough stone under cultivation shows that productivity begins with containment. A later Flores coastline previews the western turn. Settlement pressed against volcanic coast and Atlantic exposure. The final Pico image is pure height. Crater rim, Pequeño cone, and cloud layer compose a vertical diagram of how volcanoes become islands. Pico's final image holds height over everyday margins, pasture, weather, harbor access, and summit sharing the same island. The island's dark textures prepare for Fayal. There, eruption becomes historical memory. A final look back. Pico's volcano stays in charge of the frame. From Pico's ancient summit to Fayal's recent eruption, the route follows the archipelago's timeline. Pico leaves a hard lesson. On young volcanic ground, every wall and road is a reason to stay. The crossing to Fayal is short, but the story changes completely. From the mountain to the eruption that still writes the landscape. Fayal turns volcanic force into recent history. Caplinos changed the coastline in 1957 and 1958. The new land still looks raw. The buried lighthouse makes consequence visible. Ash swallowed a landmark. For 13 months, eruption was lived disruption. Homes, fields, and routines changed. In Horta, roads and maritime contact continued while new land formed. Caplinos added new land, but that gain came with loss. Destroyed farmland, damaged houses, families forced to decide. The ash explains why Fayal belongs late in the route. Here, volcanic past is close enough to have witnesses. This coast records an eruption that pushed people toward emigration. It changed island life. A Fayal-labeled town view keeps the cost plain. New land can bury older dependents. The lighthouse shows how high ash could climb. It stands as a measure of the eruption's force. A quiet view after Caplinos feels different. Calm can sit beside very recent rupture. Roads and settlements continue around the scar. A traveler crossing Caplinos makes the scale practical. This is terrain people now walk. Volcanic land is not only origin, it can become emergency, migration, and repair. The coastline added by eruption is a reminder. Maps here are not finished. Where ash meets sea, the story narrows. The island grew, people paid for that growth. This chapter gives the film its dark layer. The danger comes from the land itself. A Horta-labeled town view shows the surface people rebuild around after eruption ends. The route carries Caplinos as memory, not spectacle, into the final Western Islands. A last look at Fayal. The lighthouse and ash become a warning for the whole archipelago. The crossing toward Flores leaves a Horta-labeled waterfront behind, toward remoteness at the edge of the map. Fayal closes with the clearest consequence. When the island changes shape, lives have to change with it. Flores feels like the far edge of the map, wet cliffs, pasture shelves, and falling water arranged by weather, remoteness made visible in layers of green and rock. Flores arrives wet, mountains, lakes, cloud, distance. Baja Grande sits low by the coast, a village shelf between Atlantic and Green Wall. At Fagazina, the village sits close to falling water. Weather decides maintenance beside homes and roads. The cliff face explains access. On Flores, a road is built on wet vertical ground. Along the coast, near Faja Grande, the route feels exposed. Settlement depends on small margins below high slopes. At Faja de Lopo Vaz, grassy land is a usable pocket. The cliff and ocean leave only a narrow opening. A Corvo-labeled western pasture tightens the edge beyond Flores, rural ground and volcanic stone in a smaller Atlantic frame. Fields on Flores are carved against the slope. Every flat patch means soil carried by patient labor. Fagazina at sunset shows why village placement matters. Roofs gather where slope, shelter, and access briefly agree. At Poco da Ribeira do Ferreiro, water gathers in a basin-like wall, the island's rainfall stored in one concentrated view. Clouds moving over Rocha dos Frades turn cliffs into a weather gauge. Visibility changes the shape of the coast minute by minute. The coastal village below orange roofs shows adaptation, height, distance, and restraint, not expansion. Ribeira do Ferreiro shifts from spectacle to drainage. Streams mark where the high ground releases its load. This closer cascade is scale and sound. One fall makes the island's stored rain feel immediate. Faja Grande gives human scale, building small against slope and ocean. Near Rocha dos Bordos, the road makes access the problem. Cloud, rock, green folds. Fagazina faces the Atlantic directly, a careful hold between steep, wet ground and open ocean. Above Faja Grande, the town's compact shape shows how people cluster where the island becomes level. At Ribeira do Ferreiro, thin streams mark where the plateau releases rainfall. Each vein finds its own crack in the cliff. This ocean edge is broader than one island name. Waves and cliffs mark the boundary every Western settlement faces. A sunny view of Flores softens the mood. The same pattern remains: green land, steep sides, and limited places to work. Faja Grande is a last inhabited platform before the map gives way to water, access, shelter, and exposure balanced in one shelf. Roads on Flores follow the gentlest contours. They bend around cliffs and valleys because the island was not designed for straight lines. The road threads pasture and hills. There is no easy straight line here. A rocky bay and clear water bring the boundary close, still the same Atlantic edge. The cliff dominates the coast. The island permits settlement only in fragments. At Cravero Lopes, fissured rock and ocean make the western edge feel cut open. Aldea de Quata shows stone houses and grazing animals, survival measured in restored walls and small rural routines. Faja Grande appears as homes held between cliff shadow and sea air. On Flores, every stream finds the ocean. The island is a wet sponge between clouds and Atlantic. Near Ponta Delgada, the route reaches one of the wildest areas. Distance becomes part of the view. Fajazinha at dusk feels fragile. Village lights sit under slopes. Weather keeps remaking. From above, the edge reduces to water, rock, and road. From above, Flores reveals its structure: ridge, basin, cliff, and shelf arranged by water and volcano. Ponta Ruiva gives the last village scale: white walls and red roofs gathered tightly before the land widens again. The final approach to Ribeira do Ferreiro shows water as lasting force. It falls, pools, and carves, building Flores over millennia. The last waterfall view turns the ending human. Roads, roofs, and memory survive by reading water early. In the Azores, staying means learning to read the island before the next storm. By the end, Flores does not soften the Azores, it clarifies them. Remote islands survive by accepting limits. The last view leaves the lesson in concrete form. Roads bend, farms shrink, houses cluster, waterfalls drop. The Atlantic keeps the final word.